When my Uncle Tony came over from Vienna to spend Christmas with our family in Seattle, and my Uncle Charlie, Daddy's brother, and Uncle Tony's brother from Redding, California. Well, Uncle Tony decided, and I was 10 years old, just 10, he decided that he really wanted to take me back with him to Vienna. Mother and Dad kept asking me, Joni, do you want to go? And to me it was a question. At barely age 10, do you want to go and stay all night with a friend? You know, nothing, you know, the concept of a year away from the family didn't occur to me at all. They finally, because of my insistence and my lack of knowledge of being gone for a year, Mother and Dad finally said, yes, you can go. We traveled across the country to New York by bus so Uncle Tony could see the United States, you know, as much as possible on major freeways. And then we took a ship, the Bremen. And the year was January of 1938. And we took the Bremen to Hamburg, Germany, and then the train to Vienna. We were met at the train by my Aunt Fanny, Uncle Tony's wife, and his 4 children. Uncle Tony had bought, which I didn't know, an Indian outfit for me to wear, and told me to put it on before we arrived actually in Vienna, and get off the train whooping like an Indian, which I did. And Uncle Tony had not told Aunt Fanny or my cousins that he was bringing anyone home, much less an Indian. I was there for 1.5 years, and psychologically, it really did a great deal of damage to me forever. I still have repercussions as a result of having been away, like a kind of as if Mother and Daddy had thrown me away for a year. And when they wrote letters, I didn't want to read them. I was that psyched out. Hitler invaded Austria March 30th of 1938. And as a result, it was a very interesting time. Not that I thought anything was strange, because I didn't have anything to relate to as far as, you know, an occupation by a dictator is concerned. Finally, in July of 1939, which was 1.5 years being gone from my mother, father, and sister, Uncle Tony said, Joan, war is imminent, and it was, because we had firefighting equipment in our home. Everyone did, which consisted of a sand bucket, a fire extinguisher, gas masks for every member of the family. So we knew that war was going to be coming, but anyway, I didn't know. I didn't think about it because I was 11 and a half then, awfully young. And Uncle Tony said, Joni, you've got to go home. The war is imminent, but I don't know if I can get you home. You may have to go to Holland and by yourself somehow book passage to the United States. Well, fortunately that didn't happen, and I did take one of the last ships home from Hamburg, Germany, and the ship was named Hamburg, to New York, where my mother and sister met me. And it was the year of the 1939 World's Fair in New York. And we went to that, of course, and I spoke very little English by that time when I got off the boat, very little English. and of course hadn't spoken in German when I went to Vienna. So it was tough. We traveled back across the country, stopping for all kinds of sightseeing adventures, and finally came to Seattle. And I was 11 and a half, had left when I was in the 5th grade, and missed half of the 5th, all of the 6th, and they put me into the 7th grade with my former classmates, and I had missed all that schooling. I was a mess. I really was a mess, but anyway. When I was growing up, we had 2 homes. What we called a winter home in Seattle on Queen Anne Hill, and then our summer home on the beach, Magnolia Beach. Daddy built this house on the beach on a bulkhead, and it had telephone poles that supported the decking, and it was a large deck with a ship's railing around 3 sides. Daddy put in swings on the bulkhead, and we had a hammock, which everyone fought over. Daddy always bought things that served as rafts out away from the house. We'd either swim to the rafts or rowboat to the rafts, and we had 1 or 2 rowboats. Huge telescope that we could look out towards Mount Rainier, which was beautiful, and just a panoramic view of Seattle. As time went on, Daddy worked always on this summer home. There was a deck off of the living room, and we'd have meals on the porch and just scrape leftover food over the railing into the water, which was fun. And it was absolutely a wonderful house, just wonderful. Not beautiful, but wonderful. And everybody wanted to come to the Scherenzels' summer home. There certainly was no shortage of boys, for sure. They taught me between the 7th and 8th grades how to dance, how to accept a compliment. When someone gives you a compliment, you say one thing: thank you. A lesson very well learned.